Good morning. Yeah, I got another 30 seconds here before it comes afternoon. Good morning, everyone, here in Mountain Time and in Pacific Time, those that are watching. And let me go up here. And so we just got interesting. Okay, we got Phelan Clan Wolf and Crew 1351 in the chat. And we got a bunch more up here showing that they're watching. So if you're watching, please go ahead and check in, say hi, give it a thumbs up. All right. I got 4 of the grandsons out front here, as well as Eli's special ed worker. My mini-me, number 3, is sick in the room there. He came down with something. He wasn't looking too hot yesterday at home, as his mom said, and he was throwing up, and brought him over, and he's in his bedroom here. And so he's in there. The others are in the living room. They're playing with Dupelo's Legos or coloring. So hopefully they all remain quiet. All righty. So I forgot to highlight the area that I was on here where I stopped at yesterday. And I've been looking back and forth trying to figure out where I stopped. I'm not sure how close. Okay, I'm going to pick it up. I'm not going to go over back up the whole thing. I'm going to pick it up here on the, okay, that's 2000. I mean, that's 10. That's only page 11. I'm going to go ahead and start at the, there we go. Let me go ahead and bring it up here at the beginning of chapter 9, because I know I went back and I did some work on it afterwards, some things that didn't seem right. So I'm just going to start back there. And that's where we'll start at here. All right, and let me go ahead and shrink down the ribbon here. Come on, there we go, collapse ribbon. There. Chapter 9, accessing. First, October 22nd, 2037, first full day after it passes. Spotter to teacher, over. Spotter to teacher, over. Hang on, let me put something on here. Okay, up. Ronald stirred from a light sleep as Ali's voice came over the radio, sitting on the box by the head of his cot. Spotter to teacher, over. Even louder. Shaking the fog of sleep from his mind, he grabbed the handheld radio and answered a call. Teacher, go ahead, Spotter. He used the code name he started using for himself when he first radioed the Stantons, and the one he set up for whoever was on night watch up in the deer stand that was set up after dinner. You need to look at the sky. I'm not sure, but I think this means more trouble, Lee replied with a bit of panic in her voice. Ronald looked at his watch. 3:17. And sat up quickly and began to get dressed. He wondered what he okay. No, I was going to change it. I'm not going to change it. He wondered what was in the sky now. What's up, babe? Kim asked as she pushed herself up on one arm. Uh, Kim asked if she pushed herself up on one arm and on her cot that was close to his. As he pulled on his boots, she said, "There's something I need to look at in the sky." She thinks it might be trouble, but it's dark outside. What can you see at night that might be trouble? I'm not positive, but I don't like what I'm thinking, he said as he hurried for the door. Kim began to get dressed as well, muttering that it better be worth the loss of the it better be worth losing sleep over. Yeah, I was past here a little bit, but like I said, I did come back and do some editing on it. She caught up to Ronald as he stood at the barn door talking to Lee on the radio. What direction do I need to look at? Low in the southeastern sky near the horizon. Look for flashes of light. I think they might be meteorites, Lee replied. Ronald and Kim peered intently through the lightly blowing mist, trying to pinpoint what Lee and Karen were seeing. There, Ronald exclaimed a little louder than he had intended, just above that little ridge behind the main house. I see them now, Kim responded. How long has this been going on? Ronald asked Leo over the radio. Several hours before we came on. At first, they were just one every 5 minutes or so. Then about 10 minutes ago, their number picked up. Now they're coming in at such an increasing rate, I had to call you. I would be able to see more, except that these darn misty fog clouds are starting to block them from my view. Hang on, let me fix that. Are rolling in and starting to block them from my view. Yeah, there we go. That's better. Are you all right up there? Yes, we are for now. If the wind picks up much more, I'm going to add that in there. If the wind picks up much more, we'll need some sort of heater and a couple of rain suits. The fog is starting. Yeah. The foggy clouds are starting to condense on everything up here. Copy that, Ronald replied. I'll get you both ASAP. I'll run an extension cord to the lookout and get them a couple of small heating pads to put under their jackets while you dig out some of the oversized raincoats for them, Kim said as she headed back to the barn. Then she stopped short and turned back to Ronald. The meteorites aren't going to cause us problems this far north, are they? It all depends if and where they hit the earth, Ronald sighed heavily. I don't know those answers. I just hope they stay to the south of us. Becky and Brian were not in up early. Let me change that from in to up. were up early searching the internet for information on the aftermath of the asteroid. They were finding out that most of the web was not working. That doesn't sound right. Yeah, it just, yeah. To them, the most of the web's not working. Yeah, so most of the web was not working. They couldn't get public access to any government sites. Brian surmises because most of the government web servers, not web computers, web servers were back east or in Colorado, and both of those areas had taken some serious damage. They could not get any overseas sites to come up either. Hang on, either. Either. What they didn't to had lost much of its ground connectivity, and that limited what they could access. Oh, geez. All right, hang on a second. I hear problems going on. I'll be right back. Okay, Eli was having one of his little fits out there, and so what they didn't realize that the satellite they were connected to had lost most of its ground connectivity, and that limited what they could access. They found very little in the way of functioning news sites. What did surprise them was the report of Mount Tesoro and Mount Huerful Butte volcanoes erupting near Cheyenne Mountain. It was reported that each had a massive caldera about 15 miles across and were pumping out hundreds of cubic tons of ash into the air. This was bigger than the amount that the Yellowstone volcano was putting out. Then they picked up a couple ham radio broadcasts repeating a report from the evening before concerning the return of the Pacific Ocean to tsunami hitting the West Coast. Hang on a second here. Sorry about that. Busybody grandson, the troublemaker, trying to stir up stuff with all his brothers, trying to make decisions for them. All right, where was I? Here I was. All right. Flooding past Yuma up into the Phoenix Mesa metro area with floodwaters over 100 feet deep. Then they picked up a federal message, that was suddenly being repeated on several frequencies. On October 21st, by order of the President of the United States of America, Presidential Security Directive AR-001, martial law has been enacted, and all those who engage in or threaten to engage in acts that undermine the stability of the country, i.e., all murderers, rapists, looters, kidnappers, and robbers, are to be shot on sight. All others are to be held and tried within 12 hours by in-place local, state, or federal authorities. If none are available, the area SAC has authority to act as judge, unquote. Holy crud, Brian said, looking around for his grandparents and let out a deep breath that he Yeah, Becky agreed. It looks like they want to stop the bad guys quick, or they know that a lot of people are going to turn to stealing food and supplies because they didn't follow instructions and get stocked up while they could, Brian said, shaking his head. Or they have a line on gangs that are stealing supplies already, Karen said as she stepped into Grandpa Jack's den. Whatever the reason, if we don't go into town, whatever the reason, comma, if we don't go into town for any supplies we need, no, if we need to go into town for any supplies we need, we have to do it today. That sounds better. She turned away. I'm going to talk to Grandpa Jack about this. Grandpa Jack and Ronald agreed that they should go right now to get the CCTV cameras and cable for them while they could. Dave, his father Pete, Daniel, Brian's dad, Becky, and Grandpa Jack said they were going to go into Shoshone to get all the CCTV cameras they could. Ronald, Kim, Jody, and Danny Bishop said that they would go along too as backup if something went wrong. Fairfield, the county seat, was 36 minutes away. Shoshone was 75 minutes, and Twin Fall was an hour and 49 minutes. Grandpa Jack said as far as he knew, there were not any stores in Fairfield that carried any type of CCTV cameras. Brian said that the Shoshone Ace Hardware showed online that they did have several kits and individual units in stock. I gotta add something in it. If that. Oh yeah. They agreed to head to Shoshone to see if they could get everything they needed there. At the Shoshone Ace Hardware, they got all 6 kits of CCTV camera systems. They each had 4 cameras, including including they had 6. They also can. They each had 4 cameras included with the multiplexers. They also got 12 individual cameras. Got all 12 individual cameras the store had. The young salesperson said that if they were running a long way between the cameras and the multiplexers, they might want to get several spools of thicker wire. I'm gonna break this up. Thicker wire. That. Sorry. Gotta get it. All right. They might want to get several spools of thicker wire. That would help the cameras transmit their signal and not suffer visual clarity loss or have a bunch of splices in the cable run, which could cause video failure. They got 6 spools of 5,000 foot 20 gauge 8-strand wire. They could run 3 cameras off each cable, 2 wires for power and 2 wires for each camera. After some quick calculations, they decided to head down into Twin Falls and get more spools of wire and any extra cameras they could find. They could find. Hang on here. Any extra cameras they could find, so they could. All right. Expand their VIE viewing area and would have a few spares. They found a bunch of solar powered cameras and got 3 extra batteries for each one. Using the solar powered cameras, they could run 4 cameras per cable instead of 3. Ronald insisted on stopping at a trailer store and hang on, and he got a 16-foot cargo trailer. Then he had them stop at the Walmart where they got 6 no, he's going to think ahead. That's just bare minimum. He would think he'd get more. So hang on. 8 full-size mattresses and box springs. 12 TWEL. 12 twin mattresses and box springs. All right, 12 and 8 is 20. Right? 8 and 12 is 20 times 2 would be 40. FO. 40 pillows and 3 sets of linen for each mattress. They also got 2 blankets for each of them. 1 heavy and 1 light. Grandpa Jack said they could use the sawmill to make bed frames for the mattresses and box springs, and even make headboards for them if needed or wanted. Ronald asked Grandpa Jack how many extra saw blades did he have for the mill. Grandpa Jack's eyes got wide with the realization that he should get a couple dozen more blades. Ronald smiled, remembering Ronald smiled, remembering using the neighbor's sawmill back in Kentucky to cut fence boards for the corrals. Hang on, I'm going to add something for the corrals on his grandfather's horse, RAN, horse ranch. Hang on here. I got to take something out of here. Control X. Next, they stopped and picked up a dozen blades. Dozen saw blades, extra bearings, guides, and other components that would wear out over time. Ronald said to get an extra engine as well as a dozen filters and several gallons of oil for it. Jody asked what size boards could they cut on the sawmill and what was needed to cut longer boards. Hang on, I need to change. Grandpa Jack said excitedly, "Yes! We need to be able to cut longer beams and boards to be able to build more cabins and barns." He then got two 10-foot frame rail extensions so they could cut 40-foot beams for new homes and barns. Then they swung by High Desert Bobcat, which was a Coyote dealer as well, and picked up a dozen sets of filters for the two Coyote tractors that were on the compound. They also got several extra Dust Bowl pre-filter kits for them. Yeah. As they left Twin Falls, they stopped at the Boss truck stop at the Flying J Travels. Hang on. Travel Center truck stop, and Ronald got some more of the add-on filters and housings like they had picked up in Fernley, Nevada. At 9 in the morning, Lisa Stanton Barton, Karen's mom, started using the big 140 horsepower Coyote HX 1402 tractor to help pull the ash away from the cabins and barns. The HS 1402 was Coyote's largest tractor with the hydrostatic transmission, which meant that even though it was large, it was very easy to operate. They had put the quick attachment hang on, I got to reword this. the 3-point adapter quick attachment on instead of the front bucket and connected the angle blade the 3-point angle blade to it. With it in this configuration, she could slowly scrape the ash away from the walls of the cabins and porches and see better how close she was to the buildings. By moving the ash slowly, they limited the amount of it becoming airborne again. She would drag the ash from the cabins and create windrows that could be moved elsewhere. Robert Stanton Beckystead was using the Coyote 74 horsepower TL 750 track loader with the snow pusher box on the front to scoop up the windrows. Hang on, I gotta change the sentence. I gotta work on the sentence here. That over there. The track loader with the 10-foot wide snow pusher box on the front to scoop up the windrows and push the ash where he wanted it to go. And then he would slowly move the gathered ash when I'm going to take that out. I already talked about that. I need to keep putting that in there. Down the compound roadway away from the cabins and barns into piles that they could safely deal with later. They were going very slow so they would not stir up the ash and damage the tractors. About 11, it started to mist, and the dust from the ash lessened significantly, and they were able to go a little faster. By 2 o'clock, he was coming down in a steady shower, and the ash was washed from the roofs of all the buildings. Little rivers of rain and ash were flowing down towards the streams. Ash flowing into streams above the compound was contaminating the water with sediment. Having already shut off the intakes for the hydroelectric generators, hang on. Having already shut off the intakes, the hydroelectric generators kept them from being damaged by all the sediment. Robert was pushing what had been Robert was now pushing what had been piled up earlier, further down the valley towards the gate and the property line when Grandpa Jack and the others returned. He and Lisa had removed most of the ash from the walkways, driveways, compound roads, and parking areas. Okay. Hang on, I'm adding a bunch in here. Others were wearing desk masks. Others wearing desk masks. No. Brooms to clear areas that the tractors could not reach. When they got back to the family compound, everyone jumped in and helped unload the unexpected purchases. Purchases. Most of the full-size mattresses and box springs were stored in the 53-foot trailer that still had supplies in it. One was given to Ken and Michelle Wilson, one to Jared Wilson and his girlfriend Debbie Jones, with a bit of embarrassment on their part, as well as on Ken and Michelle's part. Another went to Ronald and Kim, and A-N-O, and another to no. Hang on, let me take that out. Jack and Tilly declined setting up a bedroom in one of the spare rooms of the compound's cabin for now, and elected to stay in their truck. in their truck sleeper. All right, there we go. A couple more people came in. Hey, how's it going? All right. So Jack and Tilly declined setting up a bedroom in one of the spare rooms of the compound's cabins for now, comma, and elected to stay in their truck's sleeper. 5 twin-size mattresses and box springs were set up for the rest of the Wilson family, including the 2 rescued girls. When Dave carried in hang on, let me take that out. Dave carried in. Dave carried one box spring into the 50-foot trailer the Wilson family was using as a camping trailer. He asked Judy where she wanted her bed set up at. Judy narrowed her eyes at him. What? You're not going to ask me to move in you in your room? Dave stammered. I thought you were mad at me. All you've done all day is just glare at me. You don't know anything about relationships, do you? Jody snapped quietly as she pointed to her spot against the divider wall that was added yesterday to the inside of the trailer. Put it right there. Hang on, no, I want to change that. Just put it right there. I'll make that capital. There we go. As Dave set this box spring down carefully, he said, "No, I don't. I've never met a woman I liked before. So I've never dated one yet either." What? Judy exclaimed a little louder than she would have liked, then quietly added, "Are you serious?" "Absolutely," Dave replied. "That's why I was so flustered yesterday at dinner." Hang on here. Okay, much less kiss one. What? Okay, are you serious? Absolutely, Dave replied. That's why I was so flustered yesterday at dinner. Jody asked. Nope. Even on a dare? Never, Dave sighed and muttered more to himself than the Jody. 19 and never been kissed. At this rate, I never will be. He added regretfully. Jody's eyes widened in shock. Kim and Lee came past Dave with another box spring and set it in the opposite corner. "Lee, Kim," Jody said, still in shock. "Dave says he hasn't even kissed the girl yet." Lee chuckled. "You better get to it or I will. When we get back with my mattress," she chuckled. "A virgin kisser is a very rare find." "Sis, just kiss him and get that part over with," Kim said as she and Lee left to get the mattress for Lee's bed. I think we can wait until we're alone," Dave said. "I'll probably try too hard or too wimpy if we try it now," he sighed heavily. "I need help." "I need help learning how to kiss properly." I didn't want to have to teach someone how to do everything, Jody said as she started to leave. Why not? All that means is that I don't have a bunch of bad habits to break and overcome. I'm a blank slate, Dave said quickly. What? I am ready and willing to learn what I need to do to be a good boyfriend, Dave said, sounding tired and broken spirited. But I need a good woman to teach me. Judy took a breath and blew it out slowly through her nose. Then she turned away and said, let's just get my mattress while I think about this. Oh, back down to just three in here. There we go. Let's see here. And all right. Once the light items were put away, Lisa swapped out the 3-point adapter and angle blade for the quick change fork attachment and went about lifting the sawmill pieces out of Ronald's new trailer. The sawmill extra engine and parts were put in the shed at the end of the sawmill pole barn cover. The two new 10-foot frame rail extensions were put on some blocks at the other end of the shed, on the other side of the shed. Okay, this is a this by Lisa and the Coyote 1402 tractor. After all the supplies were unloaded, Ronald's new trailer was parked outside next to the now tarp covered beast. Tarp covered beast. There we go. Then everyone headed into the. Hang on here. That's supposed to be lowercase. Then everyone headed into the main house to plan out what they were going to do first. As everyone began taking a seat, Ronald asked Grandpa Jack if he could go last, and Grandpa Jack agreed. Once the adults were seated, Grandpa Jack went around the table and asked what each person thought that they needed to get. What each person thought that the group, hang on here, the group needed to get done first. He started with his daughter Lisa and then moved on to the other wives and then the husbands. After that, he asked the grandkids. When Grandpa Jack got to Dave, he said for Jody to go first. Jody gave Dave a scowl before speaking. We can work on several things at once. Hang on. We have enough people, PEO people, that we can work on several things at once. The lookout tower needs to be improved temporarily, at least, because it gets damn cold up there. let me break that sentence up. It's a run-on sentence. Once we get the CCTV cameras installed and wired to a comm center, won't have to staff it any more. I know it's pointed out that the RF signals from the the wireless cameras. Hang on, I want to look something up here. Control F, see how many of these. I got to check this back here. David. Hang on a second here. I got to look something up here. We have Dave. Danny or Daniel. Let's go into people's name. Okay. Okay, then I need to check something else out here real quick. All right, hang on a second here. Okay, there's 12 uses of David. How many uses of Dave? 99. Okay, I need to fix something here. David, 12. Replace. Okay, close. $16 wireless cameras. Okay. All right, back here now. Let me hit save so I can save all those corrections I just did. I think I still got one or two boys here. Sound like one was just, the sick one's making noise. I'll be right back, guys. Okay. There was 5 in there, and they just jumped right back out again. All right. So what I checked on is just Oliver's the only one left here. Danny's mom or dad carried him home. That was the sick one, and the others went home too. So, all right, let's get on with this here. They also left the pizza I cooked for them. I know it's pointed out that the RF signals from the wireless cameras can be traced back to us. But how far out do those signals go? Are the signals line of sight, or can they go through line of sight only, or can they go through the woods? Or are they blocked? Hang on. Are they blocked by the woods and hills? Can we test to see how far the signals can be tracked from? She took a breath. We need to enlarge the sawmill building so we can make more. Hang on, let me think this one out. I got to clarify this one here. Okay, we need to enlarge the sawmill building soon so we can start making more barns for the cattle, and we need more barns for the cattle. Also, we need to get more feed for them for the winter. Like others have said, the ash has ruined a lot of their pastures. Hang on a second here. A lot of their pasture food. Dave, I agree with most of what Jody said. I would say that we don't need to improve the lookout for people, but upgrade it to the wireless cameras temporarily until we can hardwire some up there. She's right about the sawmill and buildings and barns. We should also see about buying more oat hay and alfalfa for the winter soon as we can. Before everyone stops selling it. Yeah, so we also need to see about buying more oat hay and alfalfa winter as soon as we can before everyone stops selling it. And we need to build some cabins for our new members. just a stopgap. Need. I need real bathrooms. There we go. All right, got that. That a couple more people came in. Hey. All right, so let me read that last one here. I agree with most of what Jody said. I would say that we don't improve the lookout for people, but upgrade it to the wireless cameras temporarily until we can hardwire some up there. She is right about the sawmill building and barns. We should also see about buying more oat hay and alfalfa for the winter as soon as we can before everyone stops selling it. We need to build some cabins for our new members. The trailers are just a stopgap and they need real bathrooms. All right, hang on here. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Grandpa Jack. Come on, dang it, fat fingers. Grandpa Jack nodded in agreement. Ronald? Home, delete, in. There we go. Ronald cleared his throat. There have been some good points made. He looked at Jody and Dave. I agree with the lookout up, GRA, lookup upgrade, and I think that we should be okay for a while with the wireless cameras. Sorry. Why did I put looked? With the lookout upgrade in it for a month or two. And that we should see how far the RF signals, signals can be picked up and traced from. There we go. And we just lost whoever was there. Let me check some data here. All right. All right. Let's see here. Yeah. All right. We need to figure out where to put camera command center. Work on couple let's see here. What do I want? How do another one just came in and right back out again. All right. Hang on a minute. Hang on. Someone's asking for me. I'll be right back. Okay, Oliver just want to know how long he can stay. All right. Oh, 2 comments. It's amazing how long, or it's amazing how many. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, Phelan, you're right about that. All right. Mm-hmm. You need to where to put the camera command center first. And then work on setting up a couple of. All right. I figure we need to put a command center about first, and then work on setting up a couple monitoring stations for it. 2 or 3, I would say, but only one person should have to be in there most of the time. You took all right. More for close time. You took a breath before continuing. I don't see the need for new cabins until spring or summer. And I want to emphasize this. So that's going to be but barns for livestock and feed is a must with all of this ash. Unless we get a lot of rain, not snow, to wash the ash away downstream the grazing PAS pastures are going to remain compromised for feeding. There we go. Let me think on this now. Not sure. Okay, so going to remain it's going to remain compromised for feeding. So yes, comma. So yes, we need to buy several loads of feed ASAP, and we need to build a barn or two to store it in. All right, I got to look something else up here. All right, so yeah. So as long as we keep the cattle alive, we have food for us. And I need to look for something here. Let's see. Pigs. Pigs. Okay. Hang on. Down. Okay, he's Grandpa Jack's planning to get more pigs. Okay. No. Okay, so let's try chickens. chickens. 2. All right, so where are we? Who's this? Is yeah. All right, so you do have some chickens compound. They do have some sheep. All right. So with that, yeah, there we are. All right. So, all right, see what we got here. Yes, we need to buy several loads of feed ASAP, and we need to build a barn or two to store it in. Also, so long as we keep cattle alive, we have food for us. A larger chicken coop and run would be nice, and a couple small barns for the pigs and sheep. Maybe some lean-to covers for them too. Uh, you pursed his lips. Half a minute before speaking or speaking again. Oh, okay, that was fast. The number here jumped. The number here jumped up to double, and then 10 seconds later it was back down. And Moon over Miami's here. And wow, that is, hang on here. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Oh, I've noticed lately that if on YouTube for me, if I don't keep making comments, it stops recording me as watching my own live stream. That's kind of stupid. All right. Before speaking again. Not the best. The top. Work on first. Completed. Okay, replace it with another. All right, so there have been some good suggestions made, but you're going to have to pick the top 3 to work on first. Once one of those is completed, then replace it with another task. That way, everyone is working on something. And we don't have a bunch of super standing around leaning on a shovel. All right. Ah. And let me scroll that up there. All right, Grandpa Jack busted out laughing. I can see that happening. A couple of the others, CHUs, chuckled. not in agreement. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, let's see if I can get it up now. Pose. All right. Soon, Grandpa Jack had assigned 3 main work details, and tasks they were to work on. Hang on here. Okay. Shoot, I gotta think of something here. Yes, Oliver. I'm hungry. You're hungry? Well, there's more pizza in there. Okay. So you can have another piece of pizza. Okay. Mm. All right. Okay, I think I'm gonna. Okay. All right, let's go down here. Well, and and bishop. Okay. Guten. There we go. I'm working on it, getting the it's figured out here. All right. Okay. Uh, Norfolk Prepper. Hey, how's it going? Pretty good. I'm at the point here in the last little bit of the book here where I'm actually writing as I'm going along, not just editing. Trying to get a few more things set up for them to get their last minute supplies here going in the book. So that's where I'm at right now. All right. So soon Grandpa Jack had assigned three main work details and the tasks they were work on. He had then he had Jack Bauer and Danny Bishop get their rigs hooked up to the two 40-foot flat trailers that he had gotten to haul hay on before. He called a farmer that usually had extra oat hay and alfalfa for sale year round and ordered enough for loading. Okay, enough for loading each trailer twice. They would offload the first and tarp the second load on the trailer for storage. STORA for storage. And really, talk about a stupid thing. It would offload the first load on planks. And tarp it. Let me fix this. And then tarp the second load on the trailer for storage. Yeah, that's right. That's good. Yeah, that way they only have to offload the one trailer, offload the two trailers once, and the other ones they stay on there. We're feeding the cattle. All right. All right. Next. Ronald, Cam, Dave, Jody, hang on. That's going to be Becky and Karen, right? Karen's 18. Becky, Karen. Got Becky and Karen. So up here, let's talk about a stupid ever since Microsoft updated Microsoft Office, it's like the spell check has become utterly stupid. Common words which have been auto-correcting for decades no longer autocorrect. It did not recognize Karen as a real word. Hello. And we just had a couple more show up. And one went right back out again. Yeah. As I was here, as Phelan said, the trolls don't stick around very long before they crawl back to their mommy's basements. Yeah, soon as, all right, so hang on, let me change my size here. So I've already, Against the Wind, book 1 is complete, ready to be published. The Scout and the Ninja is ready to be published. Scout and Ninja 2, I got the last several chapters to finish off. And Against the Wind 2, Running Against the Wind, is has a couple chapters left to go. I have what I'm working on down here, the last page and a half of chapter 9. And then I probably have like 4 or 5 pages here of this one I'm working on, which is the family compound hunker down. Once that one is completed, then like on tomorrow, I will start editing Blood Moon Falling, which has about 2 or 3 chapters left to go in it. And it's done. And then once I have that many done, I may start publishing the e-versions on Kindle on Amazon. And I got to talk with Tammy McNeil, Rebel Canners, because she's published several books. And I also got to talk with Dr. Joseph Alton and Nurse Amy Alton, because they've published about 10 books so far. And they've been up on my live streams a bunch, and talk to them about their publisher and what to go through to get, how much it costs to get books published on their side. And so I may get, as soon as I find a good publisher, then I will start publishing the books in paperback form. So, yeah. So once it's done, it's gone. Now, so every book on the top here are all part of the Against the Wind Saga universe. The 2 on the end here, Blood Moon and Hunker Down are part of that universe. Hardcore is part of that universe. These other two right here, Mythlore and Once a Hero, are ones I started years ago, and I just kind of forgot about them. I just finally found my soft copies, and I'm started working on those again. But they're in a totally different universe. Like the Marvel universe, you have this Earth, that Earth. DC has Earth 27, Earth 46, Earth 283. Yeah, that type of thing. But yeah, there are connections between these. In these two over here right now, where I just finished editing them, they've had some major crossover with characters. Some of the major characters from this one have gone down to where these guys are at the North Rim of the Grand Canyon for the Scout and the Ninja's wedding, which took place in the last part I edited. So, yeah. Anyways, that's some of the fun stuff going on. Let's go back here now. All right. So, Ron to Dave, not W, Dave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And Karen went to work on setting up the wireless CCTV cameras. Actually, I need to go back to the Stanton clan here and look at the Stanton clan here. Who's going to do what where? Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we're going to set up since the cabins, other than the main cabins, the 4 other cabins are the same size, same footprint size, and so the Barton cabin has a couple extra rooms in it that aren't being used. They're going to turn one of those rooms in for the control room for the CCTV camera. So let me go back up here. Cameras. Dang, I forgot. That is, go back down here. That's Jess and Lisa. All right, Jess and Lisa. Ooh, too far. No, all right, perfect. All right. Let's set up the cameras in the deer stand lookout on in the dang it, I'm having a brain fart here on what it's called. Hang on, let me get up here. See, hope. Hang on, let's see if I can find out the proper thing here. EA. Yes, okay, that's the spelling of it. And there we go. Get me back over here. There I am. Go back to, all right, into the cupolas on the to be big DA big burns. And Lisa, that right? Let me, hang on. Time to cheat here. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Set. Come on, set up. Set up the. There we go. With 3 monitoring stations. Cameras. There we go. All right. We've been on this for 2 hours here. Yeah. All right, Norfolk. Take care. Yeah, I'll be in there. I'll be in there this Saturday. It's this last Saturday. I had grandkids going on here and other problems, and yeah. So yeah, but I'll be there Saturday. Take care. All right. I actually, yeah. Let me see what I got here. So I got that there. Hit save. All right. You know what? It's been 2 hours. I'm going to go ahead and hang on. Let me bring myself back down here. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get things set up here for tonight. So tonight here on Gray Man Prepping at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, the topic is I just lost it. Oh, life's uncertainties, your succession plans. We're going to be talking about wills, trusts, LLCs, and things to keep your stuff together after you're gone, and keep it from the government from getting everything at 80% tax rate or whatever. So that's what we're going to be doing tonight. Tomorrow at 2 o'clock Eastern time, noon Mountain time, I'll be back here editing novels. Thursday, same thing, editing novels at 2 p.m. And then the Midnight Ride at 10 p.m. Eastern. Friday on my other channel, Camp Patton Family Compound. The topic is, you might be a homesteader if. I'm going to have a little fun with that one. I want people to, I've been telling people, send me an email with suggestions of, you might be a homesteader if you have baby chicks in your kitchen, or you have a baby goat in your living room, stuff like that. So that's what we're going to be talking about. You might be a homesteader if, because some people don't think they're a homesteader, but they're doing just about everything there is to do with it. And so that'll be Friday evening. Saturday morning at 10 o'clock Eastern, I'll be editing. Then at 3 o'clock Eastern, Norfolk, UK Urban Prepper, Shadow Scout Swede, Sofa Survivalist will all be on a joint live stream. I'll be streaming it. Shadow will be streaming it. UK Urban Prepper will be streaming it. World Survivalist will be streaming it. We'll all be streaming it out at the same time, get a bigger audience. And I'm not sure what the topic's going to be yet. I'll probably find out Friday when Shadow lets me know. Sunday, I will be working. I'm probably going to do 2 live stream on Sunday. So at 10 o'clock Eastern, I'll do this for a couple hours. And then let me double check the weather just to make sure. And then I'll be going outside and setting up a camera to stream outside. And whoa, okay. This afternoon, dusty blowing. Tomorrow, dusty blowing, high into 72 tomorrow. Saturday is 70. Sunday is going to be 74. Yeah, I'll be outside on the tractor Sunday. So I'll be moving my big compost pile out into the garden, spreading it around, and then rototilling it in some on Sunday. And I'll be doing that on a live stream, so you can see me out driving on the tractor and see how I screw things up. All right, everyone, that's it for now, and I will see you hopefully tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern for Tactical Tuesday. Take care, everyone.